Another thing I want to say before we get going. This performance management model will be split, or the introduction will be split into two parts, unfortunately. One part is the assessment of 2011. In January, the template will be updated, and you need to set goals for all of your employees. 5 goals. Everybody needs to have 5 goals. The template will be updated in January. If you want to set the goals in the same session you are doing the assessment of 2011, be my guest, but you need to write it up on paper, and then when the new template is there in January, you need to input those goals into the new template. What I'm going to show here is a very simplified process. I'm going to make it very, very simple, so that we start practicing somewhere. Then, as years go by, we will make it a little bit more advanced. But now we start with a very, very simple process. Okay? Now, there are many reasons why we need to do a performance management. I have 4 bullet points here. I want to stress the second one especially. Increased alignment of employees' efforts to group objectives. Now, what do I mean with that? What is characteristics for a mature company is that it creates synergies. That 1 + 1 + 1 is 5 instead of 3. One way of making those or creating those synergies is to have a common strategy, corporate strategy, showing one direction where everybody is aligned to. One direction, one strategy, and everybody is aligned to that. Now, today we don't really have an efficient process for establishing a corporate strategy, and certainly not cascading it vertically through the whole organization and horizontally through the whole organization. I mean, HR strategies, they need to align to the business strategy to give efficiency, to create those synergies. I can't go doing my own thing independent of the business strategies. But if we don't have that methodology, the process for creating strategies and cascading it, we can get the full effort of the organization. Now, that is actually line of sight. What I'm saying is that the cascading should lead to a line of sight to every employee in the company. You have the business strategy and goals, objectives there. The line of sight means that each employee has goals, and those goals are somehow attached. There is a line of sight to the strategy. Meaning that if we have 2,500 employees today, and everybody gets 5 goals, that's 12,500 goals. Now, if we realize those 12,500 goals, we should realize the company objectives. That means line of sight. And that's what I mean with the second point. The method for doing that is the performance management. Increased retention and engagement from the employees. Performance management is about retention. If people know what is expected of them, and they know and they get continuous feedback on how they are doing, they tend to be more satisfied, happy, and there is a bigger threshold for leaving the company. If people don't know what is expected of them, and they don't get any feedback on it on a regular basis, we have a retention risk. And the third point here is also very, very important. That has to do with our ambitions and the plans to grow. We need to build up the capability from the shop floor up. Because if we want to realize our ambitions, we will grow. and there will be a lot of leadership positions open. Now, I don't want to have to go outside the organization to fill those positions. I want to take it inside the organization as much as possible. But for that to happen, we need to build up on a massive scale the capability, the competence in the organization. If you get a new higher position, who's going to fill your position? I want to go under you to get that. So competence development, competence management is another aspect that will be linked to the performance management. Also down here, two words I want to highlight. What is actually the strategy? What should the company do? That is the strategy. That is the direction. One direction that everybody is following. It's the strategy. Now, in addition to what, we also need to start to talk about how. Not only what should we do, but how we should do it. And that is about corporate culture. It's about values, and it's about competence. Now, corporate culture is for an organization what personality is for an individual. We need to have a certain kind of personality. It's about behaviors, how we interact and work with each other. That's corporate culture and values. Now, as an example, GE, General Electric, they are prepared to fire the best salesperson. They are prepared to fire the best person if that person gets the results through unethical behavior or getting the results through, going over the dead bodies of colleagues. That's a strong message. It's a strong message. Now, our corporate culture is very much influenced of the last decades. A corporate culture is not something that pops up over a day. It gets created over decades. And one of the negatives of the corporate culture I see today is actually this lack of communication. Now, I found a policy saying that you are not allowed to talk with your colleagues from other departments without going through your manager. Now, that needs to stop. That needs to stop. We need to have people talking with each other. I will talk about it later on, but as an example, if we need to develop, where will that development come from? It comes from questioning the status quo. It comes from different experiences, backgrounds, ideas merging. Development comes from that. If we don't allow that, there is not going to be any development. And we can kiss goodbye our ambitions.
Because what I was hearing before, that everywhere is closed and we are not allowing someone to get things and get information. So they block communication.
Yeah. No, you are absolutely right, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I bring up the communication, because it has devastating effects.
Yes.
We need to stop it, because it's the corporate culture has led us to information is power. I protect myself.
Exactly.
But as leaders in the new company, you need to have the courage of imperfection. The courage of imperfection. You need to be able to handle your employees even if they talk with other people. Stopping them from talking is not going to be the solution. On the contrary, I will watch you, because that is not the way we can work if we want to develop, and we want to develop. Information needs to flow freely. That's about the corporate culture, and I will talk about that much the coming years more, and we will do something about that.